take their life.
He's safe, and a government that's going to be on their side, spending the money on them and not on politicians. And I think that eThekwini could do with a good dose of DA government to clean up and clean out after the years of corruption here.
There's been some speculations about the DA's decision not to fill the mayoral candidates in the only metro in this province. Can you just give us why the DA chose not to?
Well, we did this in a number of metros, in Mangaung Metro and Buffalo City Metro. We focused on a ward-by-ward approach to be able to grow our support here. It's what worked for us in the last election. We grew our share of the vote here by having a ward-based approach. We did the same here. If we're in a position to have a mayor afterwards, we'll put a mayoral candidate up. None of the other major political parties have got mayoral candidates, but it's by getting people out and focusing on a ward-by-ward approach that has worked for us very, very well in eThekwini, and I've no doubt it's going to work for us well again in this election.
You're predicting that you are going to win the Bongani municipality. Is that still the case?
Yes, so I think we're in with a good chance. We're 2 seats short of a majority in Bongani municipality. I think it'd be really great to have the first DA-run municipality in South Africa, but it all depends on whether voters in Bongani go out and vote. It's going to come down to turnout. So if you're in Bongani municipality, if you're tired of living without electricity, water and sanitation, if you're tired of the potholes, make sure you come out and vote today and get Chris Pappas and the DA over the line so that we can get those votes in the box. And you can wake up on the 3rd with the DA government. And I couldn't think of any better way to wake up in South Africa.
There's been some voting stations that had been closed. There have been some allegations of some people rigging votes and putting in ballot papers that were unmarked and so forth. What is your assessment of how things have gone so far, and what would be your comments with regards to that?
Well, I think it's largely gone smoothly. Of course, like every election, there are hiccups along the way. I think the party agents and our members on the party liaison committees are dealing with those particular matters, and we will get to the bottom of them. It's not that difficult to work out where the fraud has taken place there, and I think it'll be very easy to see in terms of what the results look like there. But if anyone has been involved in electoral fraud, wherever they're from, they need to be dealt with severely. This is an expression of the people's will, and it cannot be subverted by people who are desperately trying to cling to power through means other than the democratic ballot box.
Mr. Steenhuisen, just 2 questions. Firstly, how does it feel being back in your hometown to vote? And just secondly, looking forward, what do the results of these elections mean for your future in the DA, given how they go?
Well, I've been in the DA and involved here in the DA since I was 17 years old. I've been voting here since 1994 at this very same voting station. This was my ward for 10 years when I was a Metro councillor. I've been involved with the DA my whole life. I'll be involved with the DA until my dying day, because I passionately believe that this party is the future for South Africa. It's the only party that's bringing South Africans together from different backgrounds, from different religions, from different communities around a common set of values and principles. So whatever the outcome of today is, the cause endures, and the hope never dies that we can bring our policies and our principles to bear at a national government level. And that's the work that we'll all be doing, and certainly I'll be doing till my dying day.
Sorry, sir. Hi.
Hello.
I would like to ask, is the DA concerned about the threats that have been going around to other voting stations?
Well, any intimidation or any attempt to intimidate voters must be completely rejected, and it must be prevented by the South African Police Service. Voter intimidation is not acceptable in a democratic society. People must be allowed to come to these voting stations and vote for whoever they want. Whether it's my party, I'd be very grateful to have your vote, but if it's for another party as well. But they must not be impeded from voting and making sure that their voice is heard. Voter intimidation is a terrible tactic, and one that must be rejected by any democratic society.
Mr. Steenhuisen, a part of your campaign has spoken about all the ANC and the EFF have done wrong. Would you be open to working in a coalition with them should the results come down?
Now, our campaign is actually focused on what the DA has done right, and I challenge anyone to look at our manifesto. The EFF and ANC are hardly mentioned. We focused on the 7 things that you need to get absolutely right in a municipality, whether it's a small town or whether it's a metro. And that's why our slogan is not that the ANC doesn't get things done, it says the DA gets things done. And our manifesto shows very clearly how we are not talking, we're doing these things where we govern. We are going to go into this election. We're going to get as many DA votes in the ballot box as possible, and thereafter we will sit down and have a look at at forming coalitions where we don't have a majority. But those coalitions will only be with parties that share our values and principles: non-racialism, respect for the rule of law and the Constitution, a social market economy, and a capable state without cadre deployment. If you believe in those four fundamental things, we're willing to talk to you as a political party.
The people at home are watching and preparing to go out to vote. What is your message to them?
Get out and vote. I mean, this whole election is going to come down to turnout. You don't get another chance. There is literally 5 years that you've got to live with the choice that's made today. If you want to have towns and cities that work, get out and vote for them. If you want a government that's going to be on your side, get out and vote for it. If you want service delivery, get out and vote for it. Don't sit at home. Don't turn this long weekend into a 5-year nightmare. Make sure that you get up and play your part in ensuring that we have a sustainable democracy, but most importantly that you've got a government that's going to get things done for you and not for politicians.
In closing, just to follow up on the coalition comment, you clearly have an idea of the type of party you would be willing to get into a coalition government with. Have you identified any party that shares those values that you've just mentioned?
Well, our focus has been on getting votes in the box today. The focus to coalitions will happen on the 2nd of November once the election has taken place. So, my focus has been in the last 3 months on getting DA votes in the box. That's the primary goal, to get a majority where we can, so we can govern. We'll worry about coalitions tomorrow. We'll start looking at who we'll work with and who we won't work with after tomorrow. But as I said, we won't be going to coalitions with anybody who doesn't share those core 4 values and principles. We learnt that lesson in Johannesburg with the EFF. You get into bed with a party that doesn't share those values and principles, it always ends badly. You end up with rent-seeking, tender entrepreneurism, and you end up with people involving themselves in processes they should not. So we're going to be very, very circumspect. We've learnt a lot over the last 5 years around coalitions and coalition management, and we certainly go into these elections with our eyes a lot wider open.
Well, John Steenhuisen of the Democratic Alliance has just cast his vote, and voting stations opened about 2 hours ago. Many people in Mpumalanga